For fans, welcome to Gordcast Special Edition. This evening I will have with me the head coach of the St. Lawrence Laurentians, Derek Strang. First of all, I thank you, Derek, for coming along, Derek.
Thanks for the invite, Gord.
Today, as we all are aware, this is the eve of the Molson Challenge Cup. Tomorrow at 4:30, the first place St. Lawrence Laurentians played the second place Holy Cross Crusaders. The winner of that game, which we are all aware, will go directly to the finals. Then at 8 o'clock, we had the third place Mount Pearl, first choice haircutters, playing the Fedians. Whereas the winner of that game goes to the semifinal to play the loser of game one. So I think it's a great honor to be able to speak to the head coach and give a lot of people a little insight on the individual that do coach the St. Lawrence Laurentians. And the St. Lawrence Laurentians, as we are all aware, are one of the most proudest, highly regarded, respected, I say, amateur soccer teams in all of Canada. So anyway, I'll get right to. I do have several questions that I will be asking Derek, and from there we'll get on. So now I'll get back to Derek himself. Okay, Derek, you're on here now, and actually you're looking pretty good there. Right behind you, you see that's my TV, and it's a game of soccer on as well.
I got a haircut for this today.
Yeah, well, you look pretty good. Haircut and all. Anyway, Derek.
Thanks, Gord.
Anyway, Derek, in order to coach in the Molson Challenge Cup League, there are credentials that NLSA, Newfoundland and Labrador Soccer Association, requires. And to coach the Laurentians, I think that the St. Lawrence Soccer Associations want somebody highly qualified and regarded and respected. I think you bring all of that to the table. You want to explain a little more of your soccer credentials, really starting with when you played, as well as what brought you along to be the current coach of the St. Lawrence Laurentians?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a long story, but I will try to, get to the point kind of quickly. Grew up in Lyon, obviously, and played a lot of my soccer there, all through minor. And my first real, I guess, when I first moved away from Lyon is when I played the Canada Games at '93. With a lot of good soccer players at that point from Laurentians, Blair Aylward being one of those, and Mike Hollett, everybody would know. So I think that was my first real look at coaching, and we spent the summer in there, and every day we're drilled on things, and I really enjoyed that. After Canada Games, though, I went back to Lyon and played Challenge Cup. Continued to play Challenge Cup until '97, and then in '97, that was the last year that Lyon had a team. And so at '98, Gord, you were coaching, and I came down and played with you guys. So I played two seasons. Unfortunately, I had some injuries, but I started coaching itself at the minor level in Lyon. Junior there was at the time Junior Edwards, and when I couldn't play, so I spent a bit of time on the bench with him, and really still wanted to be a part of it. Very competitive, and soccer is a big part of my life. So. Coached for a few years there with Junior Edwards, and learned a lot from him for sure. As I did from you as a coach that was there when I was playing. So Junior kind of saw that I had, I think, a little something, and we had many conversations, and a lot of respect for that man. But we became friends. But he felt at a point it was ready for him to step away. So I put my name in to coach, full time. And Gord, I think you were the president of the association that time. And I started it initially in 2005. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, 2005. And myself and Jack Sims were co-coaches, and Jack Sims, obviously a highly respected coach. and learned a lot from him. But I think Jack realized at the time that maybe it was a little bit too much of a commitment, so he stepped away. And then I had the team going into the final month of August, and then we're able to win after losing the last 2 years. So we're able to win that first Challenge Cup again, first one since 2002. So from there, I coached until 2008. Included in that was a bronze medal in 2007. Very great tournament, a lot of good memories there. But I think juxtaposition next to that was 2008, which was really a disappointing nationals. But stepped away for a while then, and the kids were very young then. But back in 2013, Blair decided to coach, so he asked me and reached out to me to join him. So I joined him then in 2013, and been coaching ever since. Blair stopped after the first year, but continued, and of course now Doc Paul, manager. Paul Slaney has been with me ever since, and fantastic to be working with Paul. I mean, he sees things a different way, but you know what, we're good friends. And I think that's what really brought me to the Laurentians, is that I started there with buddies first. I love soccer. They're in a community that loves soccer. Lawn was a community that loved soccer, but unfortunately Challenge Cup ended there, and I wanted to try to, as a player, be the best, and then I went to coach. I wanted to be, at the highest level. So really, that's what brought me to, to coaching for St. Lawrence. A little strange, a little bit of a, a path there, but I'm proud to be coach of the Laurentians. I'm proud that I'm from Lawn, but I'm proud that I'm a Laurentian too.
Well, to be honest with you, me thinking over as you were talking, it's very ironic. I coached the Laurentians in '92, and again in '93. Then in '95, I went and I coached in Lawn, and you were one of the players.
Yeah.
I realized your ability when I coached in Lawn. We had a very successful year.
Absolutely.
Then I came back and I coached the Laurentians in 1998, and we had a stacked team. And to bring anybody in from outside then was, you had to have approval, which is quite understandable, because St. Lawrence did produce a lot of soccer players. So I remember going to the boys in 1998, and I said, I can get the best player from Lawn to join with us, but only way I'm doing it is having the team to endorse me bringing Derek in or inviting Derek in to play with the team. And it was unanimous. There was no issue whatsoever. So you came in, you played. Here I am from St. Lawrence. I played in St. Lawrence. I played with the Shamrocks. I had 2 full seasons with the Shamrocks. Then I probably only Laurentian to ever be head coach of the Shamrocks.
Yeah.
And I would think you came down to play with St. Lawrence, and here you are, the only Shamrock to ever coach the Laurentians. So you talk about how
Parallel,
how it all worked itself out.
I guess I'm going to have to start Derek cast.
Well, you never know once you see where you're going. This year, 2017. Last year, well, obviously in 2016, you won the Challenge Cup, and you took the hard path. You came in 3rd place, and you finished 3rd, so you had to play 3 consecutive games. And on Friday you won, and Saturday you went up against, I believe it was Holy Cross, and obviously John Douglas did his thing that he'll be forever remembered, as far as I'm concerned. John Douglas will never ever perform any better than what he performed in the semifinals.
No.
Not only on the penalty shots, because in the overtime, he made 3 or 4 quality saves that allowed the Laurentians to get there.
Either straight up breakaways or half.
Right on. And I know I was part of the broadcaster, and I just figured, like, how many more can he stop? Because Holy Cross, I thought, took it to you.
Absolutely.
So then you went to the championship game where you won. Was that in overtime?
Yes.
They won against Mel Purway, and Henneberry scored the goal. This year, a little different. Right from the get-go, you were basically in the first place. Then you went home, I think, before you went home in June to play, because the Laurentians can't play home on account of the grass, and the teams in the Avalon area, as well as Corner Brook, can play because of the artificial turf. So then you went home and you did your thing, what it took to put you where you're at today. You elaborate on your season, 23-game season, on where you started from, why you are where you're in the position today, and right now that the Laurentians are in first place. Go ahead, Derek.
Well, we got committed players, and season don't start anymore in May. Our season started in January. We spent a lot of time, and supported by the association, coming to St. John's, and we're having camps as often as we could. Again, the association were, more than helpful, and, because it's not cheap when we come in and travel, and renting, going down to Techniplex probably costs us $1,000, so we got support there, and then we had the boys that are committed. So we spent a lot of time training in the winter. The way that St. Lawrence works is, the first part of the season, we usually get practices because we come into St. John's, and we can get on a turf and we can train at night. It's very difficult for us to do that when we're coming at home. So a lot of our training is done at the beginning of the year, and then we use the season kind of as practice. Really, we do. That's my, that's what I always say. We're analyzing and looking at doing things in a game as some other coaches might be able to do, all season long. Just because we're split between some in St. John's and some in out in St. Lawrence, and I'm in Bjorn. So it's certainly got a committed crew, and but I think this year we're stronger. We had more depth. I talked to the guys tonight. I said, there's 11 players that can go on tomorrow, but there's 18, 19, 20 that could go on, and somebody's going to be disappointed. But in that, what we had in that that strength and depth, we always fielded a strong team. Not always do we have 18 there, but we always field a strong team. So, we've had some new additions. Mark Breffo there, and George Lawton certainly came in and helped us. But our younger players, been there a while with us. Evan Miles and Daniel Crew, they've been growing as players. And then you still got Jordy there, and Mark is certainly solid at the back. And we just got Shane is after developing tremendously over the last few years. So I think right now we're probably at our peak in terms of age, in terms of experience, and pretty much everybody that's going into the season had now 3 and 4 and 5 seasons under their belt, and have played in 3 and 4 and 5 final weekends. So they've learned what it takes to win. They know what we try, what way we want to go out and play. So I think we got a good balance, and I think we just had a strong year. There's certainly times when we didn't play as well. Fortunately for us this year, we played better more often, and because of that, we're able to finish first. It's been a while since we've done that. But of course, that's meaningless now. Now is when it really comes. So I'll tell the boy that's what we started in January for. We finished first, but second really would have made no difference. It was nice to finish first. Means nothing. Means we play Holy Cross now. Means that we try to win the Friday game and get Saturday off. Holy Cross trying to do the same thing. So we're excited. We this is what you play soccer for. This is what you coach for. This is what you put all the time in for. It's why you're on the road all those. All those days and all those miles, is to get where we are right now. And as a Laurentian, as a coach, as a player, as a fan, this is what everybody's waiting for. And we can't wait. We can't wait to see what we can do tomorrow.
Well, Derek, to be honest with you, the reason you're here tonight because you are coach of the St. Lawrence Laurentians, and you've had a remarkable year. And here we are on the eve, and I will challenge you at the end with regard to your lineup. But I know you're going to hold your cards close to your chest. But for me doing the interview, I will pick and I will poke. However, I think it's only fair. Last weekend I did a Gord cast on. It was more or less I had planned on taking the weekend off because of issues, and that I wanted to rest. And it was the weekend before Labor Day weekend. But all the minor programs are around to go, or the minor A tournaments, and I think you'll probably have a lot of parents watching on tonight and a lot of fans, as well as a lot of under 13s that are looking at their coach. So you also coach the Bjorn Peninsula Soccer Association under 13, and I was quite impressed with your weekend. So I'll give you a few minutes to touch on the BPSA and your under 13s and your teams, what you accomplished, and obviously you can speak about you're not finished yet because there's more games
Absolutely.
as a result of what happened last weekend.
Yeah, I took the under 12 BPSA team last year in the Metro. So we spent, I think it was 8 weekends on the road, and we did really well. And then that just carried over to this year. So we decided, it was uncertain first because it switched to 13. My daughter was 12. I didn't know it was better to have her at under 12s. But I decided for the 13-year-olds that we needed to have them to play. So we took my 12-year-olds. Mark then took the BPSA. Mark Pittman took the BPSA 12. So, we spent a lot of time. I'm very proud of those girls. We spent a lot of time on the field, about 4 hours a week. And we played in the under 13 Premier Youth League with all the best girls. And even though we have one provincial player, and the other teams have quite a few more, at the end of the season we were finished overall in second place, 3 points behind first place CBS on 36 and 2 points ahead of St. John's. So we went into our final weekend last weekend, and we had a 1v4 and 2v3, and that just straight up semifinal. And we're able to beat St. John's, a team full of provincial players, 2-1. And just so proud of the girls and how much they've improved. And like I tell them, they're like an extended family to me. They're like all my daughters. I love coaching them, and they know that. The 2 times I cried this year was in my under 13 dressing room, not in the Challenge Cup dressing room. It's a little different, when you're coaching your own daughter and you're coaching young girls, and you see that how much they love the game, and so that's why I just love being with them, because I love the game too.
Yeah,
and
I know
they've given back to me.
Well, as a result of your victory over St. John's, that puts you in a pretty good position. You went on, you played a final game, and you played against CBS Strikers, and CBS Strikers defeated you by a score of 3-0 in the final. But as a result of an Atlantic Championship being hosted here by NLSA in CBS, the province or the NLSA will have 2 teams. So here you are again, and like you say, I know you had Trevor Welsh on the bench with you, and you had your wife was there with you as well. So I definitely feel they played a part, and I think
Absolutely.
It's good for you that the fact of your daughter is there, you got your wife is involved there with the club, and especially I feel it's great because obviously my understanding is under NLSA requirements, and if you got a female team, you're to have a female adult involved with the club as well. So I thought that works out very good. So just give us a little brief on when you play. As a result of your win, you do play in the Atlantic. You elaborate and let everyone know what's going on there.
So the Atlantic Championships, there's two teams from 3 provinces. So New Brunswick are not chose not to attend. I'm not sure why, but there's 2 teams coming from PEI, 2 from Nova Scotia, and then 2 from Newfoundland. So we're I would say lucky enough, but not really lucky enough. I think we deservedly got one of those positions. So we play now. I think it's late September, so it's the weekend before Thanksgiving, so 28th to like October 1st. And basically we're going to have 2 divisions of 3. And it'll be a round robin in those 3 divisions, and then it's just a straight crossover. So 1 will play 1 for gold, 2 will play 2 for bronze, and then 3 will play 3 just for placing. So yeah, we're very excited. The girls, parents are just on board right away. They're starting to fundraise. They want to get some bench jackets, and they want to stay in a hotel room. They want to have the full experience. And I think today the kids out there, they went bagging at No Frills, and just helped them out, and they made $2,100. Fantastic. But I told the girls, spoke to some of them a little while ago, that shows how important what you're doing and what you've accomplished. You should be proud of that, because people are out and supporting you.
Well, I think it was like I done obviously a high number of Gord casts during the summer, and the number of viewers for that game, and I think it matched any number that we had for Challenge Cup. But the thing is also, I felt, and it was Kelly Spearns, she gave me the paper with the list of names, and I read out all the players and where they're from. So that team, though, is truly a Burin Peninsula team.
Mayorstown, Grand Bank, St. Lawrence, Lawn, Burin.
It started John DeBay, I believe it was John DeBay, Burin, Mayorstown, I believe, I'm not sure, Salpon or it was Grand Bank or Fortune there, and then it was
and a big commitment from the parents, to get
then
there.
we had Up the Shore, we call it. So, so
Point of golf.
So and again, I like to congratulate you from that, because in order for the Burin Peninsula to maintain any level of senior programs, I think we got to have minor. And this year, the fact that the Burin Peninsula had all clubs in under 13, 15, and 17, and like yourself making the time for that team, I thank you and the BPSA, congratulate the BPSA in maintaining a minor program, and that obviously will translate into, hopefully, that these girls team can go on and carry into a senior club, and
Absolutely.
we'll just see where it goes.
For sure, yeah.
Anyway, Derek, you're coaching senior, you're coaching senior men's, you're coaching minor, under 13, as we just discussed. Somewhere along the way, and I did it all, and my wife is walking around there now, and I'm sure she'll hear what I'm saying. Somewhere it got to be difficult to balance your time between your personal life and coaching. And I'm sure your wife is probably laughing there now as she's tuned in, and your kids. But how do you do it and try to maintain a balance between personal life and coaching, where it's not like you're on the Burin Peninsula, because the Challenge Cup team for most part is on the Avalon.
Yeah. No, I got a very supportive family. I always, ever since the beginning. When Cameron was born, he's 9 now. Michelle was off on maternity leave, and at 2 months old, we moved into St. John's for the summer in 2008. So that's support. And they know what soccer means to me, and the 2 kids love soccer. And when Dad goes away, he's going away for soccer, and it's important, and that's the way it is in the house. And sometimes they can go, but they're so busy as well. The upside for me is, as a teacher, I got the summer, so I was coaching the under 10 team there, Cameron's team as well. So, we do lots of things, but ultimately to come back to soccer, and we could be on the field from 6 to 8 with the under 10s. But Cameron and a few of his buddies there don't want to leave until dark, so we'll come into the house at 8:45 or 9 o'clock. But you know what? I say to everybody, what else do I want to do? I love soccer. I love that my kids are out playing. I love that I can be challenged at the Challenge Cup level, grassroots with the girls and growing them, and it's just a soccer home.
Yeah, and your career itself, just inform what your professional career is, Derek, as well.
Phys ed teacher.
Yeah.
By
So
trade.
what I was getting is more sports.
My summer is not a whole lot different than my September to June. But I enjoy that. I got my master's in phys ed after, and
Okay.
so I got that side of it, behind me. But really, ultimately, soccer and family. That's the two things.
Yeah, and that's where I was coming from, folks. Like what I'm finding this year, being involved in behind the scene and getting to know the individuals one-on-one, and with the number of interviews that I have done with the players, coaches, the number of young professionals that you have involved in the game, I think it augurs well for the sport. It's augured well right now for our university program. I think our university programs are getting stronger, and as a result, and even like for you coaching, Derek, the requirements are getting greater. But I really feel in order for us to improve as a province, we got to get a higher standards. And when I see a number of young students and young adults being highly professional, I just think it augurs very well for the sport, for the education system, for the university program, and for the whole program. Because when you people go there, it is, I think it's good for development. Like I think, it is because of the high standards that you reach for yourself that those young aspiring players, be it at the minor or the senior level, are knowing we just don't have Joe Blow there. We have a person that is a professional and it's got a professional setting, be it through education or a high standard of coaching. Anyway, before I get back to the Challenge Cup, because I know everyone is interested in Challenge Cup, give me to date highlight of your career and maybe the biggest disappointment.
Highlights, there's two.
Coaching I'm talking about here.
Yeah, but I'm just going to give you one as a player.
Okay.
First, got to. You were involved, Challenge Cup 99.
Okay.
Bronze medal, BC. It's the last game of soccer I ever played.
Okay.
So that's a highlight.
That was okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And that was a great team. And I went to penalty shots, and the 5 penalty shots that we took against Nova Scotia, we scored on all 5.
Oh yeah. No, that's a big memory.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't let that
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
That's when I always play. At least I say, well, at least we got a bronze medal in my last game.
Yeah.
Coaching is 2007, off in Halifax. Bronze
Yeah.
medal.
Okay.
that
I
we
was
won
there. I was there.
That game that we played, that day we played 2 games. We won. We had to play the second one against Quebec.
Yeah.
We walked it through, and all the fans were so excited because we won 2 in one day. The organizer asked us to go back in a round and come out through again. So I guess he was so amazed with the fans and how proud they were. But we went on to the final then, and we beat a good Nova Scotia team 2-1. Should have been more, but so proud of that team. Look back at the picture every now and then. Things come up at Facebook.
Yeah.
You'll see they all look so young, and but fantastic team.
Yeah. I was there, and actually, what happened was the Laurentians put in a protest because it was a goal scored by Quebec after the whistle had blown, and St. Lawrence Soccer Association. The goal stood during the game, and the St. Lawrence Soccer Association and the St. Lawrence Soccer Club challenged it with the CSA, and you won the protest. But I felt at that time you won. They were put into the CSA were put into a difficult situation, because what do you do when should you win a protest? And anyway, as a result, the referee's call was overturned, and the Laurentians had to play 2 games in one day at a national level. And I believe this Quebec team that you played on that day was your second game that day.
And they had the day off.
Yeah, so they it was played in right in their midst because you guys had played your regular game that morning,
Yeah.
and then afternoon on their day off, you had to meet them again,
again, yeah.
and you met them, and you beat them.
Probably haven't done that since under 16.
I tell you the truth, I don't say you be allowed to do it anymore.
Yeah, and Mike Howell scored. I remember the goal, hit the wall, and then he hit it again with the outside
Yeah.
of the boot, and boom, in the net. You know,
Yeah,
we were able to win 1-0, and yeah, that was a good
I remember getting a picture, actually, the picture on, it was played at, I'm not sure, would that be Dalhousie? Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
It was played.
with the flags and
We got
everybody
the-
there, the
and
big gas.
That's a big picture too.
Absolutely.
That picture
Yeah.
remained as
That's-
part of the, I guess, the Laurentians. That
Yeah.
could be put into your Hall of Fame itself.
Absolutely.
That team,
That picture
I
needs to be
remember
up somewhere, yeah.
after you won that day, the fans and myself included were there to meet the team,
Oh.
just like you had won. I would think a World Cup, eh?
Yeah, no, that was it for us in that day. The best we could do was bronze, and we got it. So, you know, it was a good day.
Okay. Now I'm coming to, I'm going to do a little challenging now, folks. I don't know what we can get out of our Laurentians coach, but for most part, he's pretty straightforward, honest. I think, you know, obviously for him to be involved in, and along with Paul, Dr. Paul, we're talking here now, you know, it's not easy. Tomorrow's game, the winner of tomorrow's game at 4:30 is the St. Lawrence Laurentians playing the Holy Cross. You played Holy Cross 4 times this year. You beat 2 games rather convincingly, and you lost 2 games. I believe the 2 convincing games were 4-0, I think, on King George, and what was that in St. Lawrence? 4-1.
5-1.
5-1 on the St. Lawrence Day, and then you lost in St. John's on King George 2-0, and you lost again the day after a convincing win in St. Lawrence by a score of 2-0. So obviously you know that you can beat them, and you also know that they are capable of beating you. What's the plan for tomorrow?
Well, to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we play in the Challenge Cup League, and we play each other 4 times, but we're going back playing Holy Cross and a lot of the core of this team a long time. So you get to know what they try to do. You get to know where their strengths are, and you get to know where their weaknesses are. So our team hopefully will be set up to counteract what they do well, but at the same time be able to expose maybe some of the things that they don't do so well. That's what we've been working on. That's what we've been talking about and thinking about. But I'm sure Holy Cross are doing the same thing. There's a lot of respect between the 2 clubs. Got a lot of respect for their coach Jeremy. I know his first year, but I think he's done a fantastic job. Holy Cross has been a strong team for a long time, as are the Laurentians. So we're very excited, and I know the fans are excited. Again, this is it. This is the eve. This is what we played for. The fans are going to be out tomorrow, and they're going to want the Laurentians to win, and we're going to try our best. Absolutely. And as a coach, that's in conversations with Paul, we always have conversations. Decisions are never made without a lot of discussion. So we're going to finalize the team tonight. There's still a few decisions to make because we're strong. We do have depth. So we got to see.
Okay. In goal, well, I thought Patrick had his best year in Challenge Cup.
He played well.
And he had a number of shotouts, 7 shotouts, I believe. Then you got John Douglas. I think that his future is in one place, is in the Provincial Soccer Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
So
no matter what he does this weekend.
No, and that's where I'm coming from. So I think we know who the goalie is without asking you to anything further. On defense, you got this year. You got say Mark Pittman that I think he's been a mainstay there for
Sure.
practically
In all games, yeah.
every game. Eh?
Yeah.
So then you had Lawton that has played a number of games. George Lawton, we're talking, newcomer. Have you, first of all, got that at all straightened up about citizenship?
Yes.
That's so.
Yeah,
so
it's all
he
straightened
will.
up.
So he will be
is-
on the lineup
He's
sheet.
he's in our 20 and eligible to play.
Right on. And that was a big concern. That
Absolutely, yeah. George's a great player.
Yeah.
You know, captain of UMB, last in the national final. You know, as a center back there. So, you know, fantastic player. We got into, you know, we're allowed this year for the first time, if people don't know, to take 3 internationals, but they had to be here legally, basically. And George was here, but we ran into the point that his permit ran out.
Yeah.
And so, even though he did everything right, we had to wait for the new permit to come in before he could be eligible. So we just got that on Monday past. So very pleased, you know, to be able to have George there. George brings, you know, a communication.
Yeah, I tell you the truth. I
commanding.
really like George Lawton, but then you got another Hall of Famer. I feel potential Hall of Famer in due course is Clinton Edwards that had played 8 games with you this year. So I will think Mark is a mainstay back there. Now leaves you with a decision between George and Clinton.
Yeah, Clinton is amazing. Clinton played with me in '99, as you know, right?
Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
17-year-old, and he's still playing. Like, that's fantastic. And still, like, I could not believe that somebody could not play in soccer, step off a plane and step onto a soccer field, and still have the touch and the vision and the passing that he had. It blew me away.
I felt
You figured there'd be a little bit of rust? No, never made a misstep. It was
I
amazing.
felt he was the best player that I've ever seen, and I've seen a number of them over my career that have moved away and tried to come back and jump on the field in midstream. Now, I know that I interviewed him actually.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And it was a good interview, and he was very upfront. I had seen him watching all my Gord casts as well, which I think gave him a good itch for the sport. And knowing that Lawton was there and Mark was there, I felt, hey, Clinton, that's a good challenge for you, man.
Absolutely.
You're a great player, but you know what? The Laurentians still had great players. But when he came back, and by this time, Lawton, for whatever reason, be it
Just being
be
caught
it
up in the
with the
legal side of it.
citizenship, he was out. So allow Clinton to go right back in the middle, and the team never missed a beat. And for Clinton to be able to do that, probably the best that I've ever seen. So having said that, will Clinton and Lawton be on the starting lineup, or you don't want to say?
I will send you the starting lineup before the game tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
You haven't finalized where those players, where they sit, meaning, you know, on your starting 11.
Yeah. It's a difficult one.
Yeah.
And we really got to have a discussion tonight with Paul and really look at what we need, not only from the beginning, but what we might need as the game goes on or as the final weekend goes on. So that's one of the tough ones. And I don't think I'm ready to say yet.
Yeah, that's
Only that they're 2 fantastic players, and it's a difficult decision. But you know what? As a coach, you would rather have difficult
But
decisions.
a good coach has got to have good, difficult decisions.
Absolutely.
It puts you in a good spot because
Sure.
right now the Laurentians are probably as deep as what they have been for the past number of years, which
Certainly
makes
since I
a
came
coach
back, yeah.
make decisions. But it's a good decision that you have to make. I ask you another question, without asking you about players. Will the top 11 players out of the 20 that you got, will they be on the field in the starting lineup?
Good question. Yeah, absolutely. That's one I always think about,
Yeah.
And I don't think it's as easy as that. I think you really got to look at what we want to do and what Holy Cross are trying to do, and we got to find the right balance.
Yeah.
So if you went and list off the top 11 as you thought,
Yeah.
which may be different than 11 that I think. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
no,
But
no,
general
no, no.
consensus, if we were there,
I would think that we're the same on 8 for sure.
you got to figure out where, you know, we can't play 5 center midfielders.
No,
You know,
no.
because maybe the 4 center midfielders better than a winger. Who knows, right? But we just got to find that balance, you know. So very rarely do you have the top 11, you know, because they might not all fit.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is that top 11 will play a big part at some point.
Yeah,
Guaranteed.
before the 90 minutes
Absolutely.
are over. Yeah, and that's I could see that. You know, I would think for most part. So we'll say 11 and 3. That's 14, possibly 15. It's a definite whether you win or lose.
Absolutely.
I would think that you're looking at that many in before the 90 minutes are up. Okay, I don't think it's. You know, I think one of the top players in the league to me is Jake Warren.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Warren goes. As Jake Warren goes, so goes Holy Cross. I also like their keeper. Okay, but having said that, Jake Warren. Anything special that you got planned for Jake Warren, or that you are aware of the fact that Jake Warren is a great player?
No, absolutely. You know, again, he's a very dangerous player. You know, and not only is he dangerous, you know, he's a gentleman on the field. You know, so I got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
But you know, in order for us to win, we got to find ways to stop Jake Warren.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, and you know, we're going to try to select a team that's going to do that.
Yeah.
Because again, like he is their main guy. Not that they don't have a strong team, but I think everybody would look at it and say that, you know, Jake Warren is their strongest. So stopping him, it definitely is key, and that's things that we certainly talked about that, and hopefully we can. If we do, that means the players have done a really good job. And if we don't, that means that Jake Warren's a really good player.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the fun thing about the Friday game and the one-off. You know,
Well,
there's so many
it's
different
still
little battles all over the field.
it's not do or die tomorrow.
No.
For either club, and I think both clubs are aware of that, and that's why you played so strong during the season. And even
Get the
at,
opportunity.
you know, you still knew on the last weekend of the season when CBS went to St. Lawrence, you guys needed a point in order to clinch
Yeah.
first place or clinch one of the 1-2. And Holy Cross were playing strong, I know, right to the end, and they defeated Mount Pearl in order to clinch second place, and they knew the advantages that come with getting to, I think, another mainstay for the Laurentians on their team in general this weekend, depending on you win tomorrow or you have to go to three game route. I feel the Slaney boys need to, you know, be a big part of the club going forward. And I'm talking Jordy Slaney in the middle as well as Stefan up front.
Yeah. No, they're two great players. We got a lot of great players, but you know, two more central players. You know, and a lot of good stuff happens through them. You know, play flows through Jordy. Stefan is dangerous, so you know, as Jake Warren is to them, you know, Stefan, Jordy is to us, but certainly again that, you know, not the only ones. You know, they're in key positions, but you know, I'm pleased with all of my players. You know, and I hope Jordy and Stefan have their, you know, best game of the season, as I do the other ones that are going on the field, you know, and that's all I expect as a coach, you know, and just get them out there and do your best, and whatever happens, you know. Jordy plays his best, Stefan plays his best, you know, Mark plays his best, John plays their best. You know,
Yep.
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah, I know you're looking for everybody to play their best. Last year, the Laurentians, we had a kid that came on and basically, I don't know, he won male junior player of the year in Henneberry. has had a very good season. A very good season. He's been strong at times, and other times maybe a little inconsistent, probably. But he's only a young, and he won Junior Player of the Year last year, and has had a very good season. Can we look at him being starting tomorrow, or at this point you're still waiting?
No, I think Brent certainly, had a great season.
Yeah.
He's young. He's,
Yeah.
From last year to this year. Last year he was kind of on the periphery, and was getting a little bit of time and here and there. But and people thought maybe he should have got more time. But
Yeah.
as a young player, it's hard to put a lot of pressure on him. And I looked at Brent last year as a really good boy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
He
yeah.
seemed like that.
Yeah.
And with the success that he did have last year, I think he got a lot of confidence from that. But he also, is a little stronger, a little more solid, and I look at him now as a really good young man. So I, have no qualms about putting him in there. He doesn't need to feel any more pressure than anybody else. But we're just pleased, that we have a player like Brent. Because for the future, a young player that's that's as good as he is. That's what you want.
Oh, yes.
Started at 16, as most of the good players do. So, he's certainly in contention. But there's 20 right now in contention, and if Brandon's one of them, I have full faith in him. If not, I got full faith that he'd come in and do the job.
And again, you can see that I'm asking the questions that audience like to know and chat with and debate and everything else.
What it's all about.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. And I think like this here will allow people outside of the Burin Peninsula, outside of St. Lawrence particularly, get a better insight on who Derek Strang is, and by doing the one-on-one. And, the Laurentians soccer is being challenged everywhere. One player that I think is probably your most versatile, and I was surprised actually. I did an interview with him during the season, and I thought he was around longer. Was Sean Drew,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and but he's told me it's 5 years. But it seemed to me, but he's been played such a major part with the team. I think during his stay, and virtually. Even if to me, it doesn't mean a lot. Like, for a number of people, the All-Star selection, to me, is, first of all, you got to play a certain number of games. Yeah. And so a player could be eliminated because he's only played half the games, whereas I would pick him on an All-Star team tomorrow if the province were ever to send a select team, And Sean Drew, to me, is one of those players. Even if he's not an All-Star on the All-Star selects of 11, to me he's virtually an All-Star, and he's probably your most versatile player. What's your plans for him the weekend?
Yeah, Drew's a fantastic player too, and he came the first year. Myself and Blair were there, so yeah, this will be his 5th season, and we've played him at. We've played him in the middle sometimes, right? He spent a lot of time at left back this year, and he's played, the left wing, and you're right. You look at a player like Drew, and you can put him anywhere, and his quality. And he's again, another gentleman, of the game, and he loves the game. I told him yesterday that, you're one of the only players, you stay around shooting longer than anybody else. He said, yeah, he told me what I had done the other day. But he's a guy that just loves it, and can't get enough of it. And he got the experience now. He spent a few years with Mount Pearl and moved to St. Lawrence. I wasn't part of that, but by the time I came on, he was already there. But, I know that I can put Drew on in any of those 3 positions, and you're going to get an honest effort, and he's not going to leave anything on the field. I got a lot of respect for him, as a player and as a man.
And a player that I just don't want to leave out, and probably I don't want to leave anyone out, because I'm thinking about all 20 as I'm going through, and I do know all 20. A couple of young guys there that are just there on their early edges of being part of the Laurentian. I think their day in the sun is more the future rather than the present, but that's how you learn.
Absolutely.
Briffle, Mark Briffle.
Yeah.
Big part of the Laurentians.
Absolutely. I think you see anytime that Mark plays in the holding midfielder, he's a strong presence there, not just with his skills, but just with his size, I'm not sure if we've seen anybody like Breffo, playing in the, certainly playing in the midfield. I think the closest you had to look at is Alec Turpin. He played as a striker.
That's where, that's who I compared him to all season long.
Big,
strong, and ugly, and and everything else goes with it.
But
can play soccer.
Absolutely.
And plays within the confines of the game as well.
Honest. He's an honest player, and he uses his body well. But there's not a bone in Breffo's body that has any malice. And sometimes people run into him and fall off him, and you hear a smack, but that's just the player, and that's just the way that's just his game.
If there's anybody that I would ever want to be compared to be honest with you, would be Alec Turpin and Briffle, because it's their all, and they bring character to a team as well.
Size and strength, and you see that on the field.
Yeah, and we got Jonathan Grant there and Adam Kelly. You know what I'm saying? I thought Adam had a good season. Yeah. Jonathan was in and out. I don't think he was there. He got married. Congratulations to him for that. Him and Stephen, actually. I mentioned that a number of times. But so your team is very deep, and Shane Pro, as you mentioned, has come into his own, and then you had Carew has had a solid season. He's one of them that is very dependable, not flashy, but rather
does the hard work.
Yeah, does the hard work and
got good speed,
good quickness. That's where I think Holy Cross to me has got the edge on. I think there's 3 players that are quick in the league to be, or the way I see it is, and the difference in quickness and speed. The quick players are, to me, it's Jake Warren, it's Tyler Kirby, and the other quick player is with Mount Pearl. It's Tyler Forsey. So that's an area that's a strength for those teams. Absolutely. But if you get smart players, you work on that accordingly too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. Both teams, all teams in the league actually got speed this year. I mean, think about all those forwards, and every front line got one, maybe two.
So, folks, I guess in summary, Derek's got 20 players. I believe young Isaacs is there as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's only a young guy there, right?
So dedicated.
Yeah,
so impressed with that young man.
Yeah, good for him. And I've heard that too. So I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that he is there. So that pretty well concludes, Derek. So after this year, Derek, and maybe it's too early to ask this question because you're just going into a playoff. What does the future of Derek Strang hold?
Definitely soccer.
Yeah. In whatever.
And my girls' team, I'm definitely going to continue with them.
Yeah.
My goal would be to bring them through. Hopefully have a Jubilee Cup team one day. Mark's coaching below me, Mark Pittman, another great coach, and doing great stuff with the girls below. And then we have a few good girls ahead. So, 5, 6, 7 years time, maybe we can, get a Jubilee Cup team. I'm going to continue to coach Cameron. I coached his under 10 team this year. The boy is 9 years old, so first year under 10.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be taking them through.
Yeah. Okay, so you're looking at with
the
kids, get the 2 kids.
Absolutely, and I can't see, unless somebody else wanted to change or something else changes, I can't see a change with the Laurentians. I love that part of soccer too. That it's at its highest, and that's where the competition is, and that's where you're in St. Lawrence, and soccer is everything.
Yeah,
and if you're competitive and you really love the game, then St. Lawrence right now is the spot for me. And I tell people, people joke around that you're not from St. Lawrence, and I say, well, absolutely not. I'll never be a St. Lawrencer, even though my mother's from there.
Yeah,
but I'm a Lawner. But I said I'm after putting a lot into this team and a lot of time, and you look on the badge and it's dedication, determination, and I said because of that, I said maybe I'm not a St. Lawrencer, but I'm definitely a Laurentian. I'm proud to be one.
Okay. Okay, folks, I will go back to Derek. I did see, all the people. Thank everyone for joining in. I thank for the people for their complimentary remarks about the interview. And I definitely thank Derek Strang, the head coach of the St. Lawrence Laurentians, for coming for the interview. And like you say, I think though just the fact that he came just shows that he has grown. He's calm, cool. He had practice this evening from 6 to 7:30, and I had the interview lined up for 8 o'clock, and he was here shortly before 8 o'clock. So, obviously why I'm saying that is that he's been calm. He's not nervous, but I can sense that he's anxious because who wouldn't be? And I'm sure all fans of soccer here in Newfoundland and Labrador, as far as I'm concerned, and I said it and I'll say it again, we have the best provincial tournament in all of the country.
Absolutely.
And the fact that it's on Labor Day weekend, Lori Ryan says, good for you, Derek Strang, and her daughter's with you on her team. Mm-hmm. And, I don't want to see that tempered with. I think it's great that it's Labor Day weekend, and it allows the Bjorn Peninsula fans that are heart and soul of soccer to be involved because of the fact that it's Labor Day and a long weekend. So
that can't change.
I did see there that the Laurentians will be selling scarves. Somebody had it posted there that they will be selling Laurentian scarves. I believe Judy Pittman is the contact person there. That's Kevin's wife. And the Laurentian scarves are going for $15. Yep. Not bad at all.
Nope.
And this weekend as well, folks, the NLSA are having a food drive for a food bank. So I think that is great, folks. And I'll ask people, like you say, to consider bringing some non-perishable item along. I do endorse that because obviously there's people that need that. Ireland says you rock, Derek. That's Trevor and her daughter. I know I met from last week, or I saw them on the team.
One of the toughest under 13 girls I've ever seen.
Yeah, good.
Very good player.
Yeah. So there's a number, and I'm sure, Derek, you'll have an opportunity to go back and watch it. But right now, again, it's the $15 scarves, folks, for the Laurentians from Judy Pittman there, and Marie, just hold on, folks. And Marie Tarrant, good interview with Derek. Good luck this weekend. Okay, we're back to you now, Derek. Anyway, Derek, again, I thank you. I think you and you probably, there is no one any stronger, I should say. I've gotten great support throughout the summer for Gordcast, and I would say led by, in regards to coach or player personality, led by no one any stronger than yourself. So I thank you for that, Derek, and the endorsement. I think the Gordcast has allowed the people from Lawn right up to Lord's Cove, Lameline, Point of Gaul, Point May, and Grand Bank Fortune, on to Garnish, and Bjorn and Mirish. I think it has put an appetite back in for soccer, and I think as a result, I think the support that the Laurentians get right now, as well as, like you say, you got yourself involved from Lawn, and then you got Brent Henneberry that has ties with Lawn and up the shore, we'll call. And then we got Oh yeah, young Keynes. I forgot about him. Well, he runs miles anyway. Jordan Keynes, and he's had a good career with the Laurentians. I didn't want to forget him.
Yeah.
There's a funny thing for most part. He may not start, but he usually finishes.
Well, you know, the one thing about Jordan is that, and people might not realize this, but he started every final that I've been coaching.
Has he?
Yep.
Okay.
He gives you something a little.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He might have not started the first game, but he started the final in all four. Scored a big goal. And
Okay,
got a
your
penalty.
final.
Yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Started
And
finals.
I do know that you do use him, but again, I know like some players may get a little disappointed, and I've been there, folks. And Derek I think, was hinting at it, and same thing when I'm sure Paul. The fact that you're not on the starting lineup, that doesn't mean that you're not a part of the team, because it's no way will you go through this tournament, be it the 2 games or 3, without using the majority of your players. You know, so again, Derek, I thank you for what you have contributed. I wish you all the best this weekend, and tomorrow. We will see, you know, the fans of St. Lawrence. There's nothing more they like. There's no two ways about it than beating the red team. That's Holy Cross. That's the rivalry. That's the arch rivalry. You know, there's a lot of respect for the Felians and Mel Pearl. They enjoyed CBS coming to St. Lawrence, and the fact that even when Cornerbrook went this year, and they were respectable in St. Lawrence. So, you know, so again, I'll give you the final word, Derek.
Oh, Gord, thank you for the opportunity. As I said to you many times, that what you're bringing here is showing some, I think, the players to show that it's important, you know, that what they do, that people are interested in it. And, you know, just because you've gone away, you know, and many Newfoundlanders did, and many St. Lawrencers did, many people from the Bjorn Peninsula, now is a connection, you know.
I think so.
And the fact that Clinton went out and had an interview, you know, that made him feel important in what he's doing, no matter what he says and how bashful he may be. That shows, hey, you want to talk to Clinton? Then Clinton went out and had an interview, and people were interested in seeing that. You know, so that can do nothing but help the game, and that's why I told you from the beginning, whatever you need, I think this is fantastic. And you know, make sure that you tune in the weekend, because I know that you're even one step further the weekend. I think Bell Light TV and
with Bell.
So that's going to be interesting. And people, if they can't make it, you know, there's nothing like being in person at a soccer game, because you get to feel the emotion, but you can't be there. You're giving them the very next best thing, you know?
I think what I have experienced this summer is to talk about soccer. Like the fact that people, you're talking $5. I don't think any avid soccer fan is not going to the field as a result of that you can watch it via live cast.
No,
I don't think that's not where it's at. But it allows, like, our provincials tomorrow and the nationals, once they come, it's out in BC, are all going to be live streamed. All of the Memorial University games are live streamed. All of the ice capped games when they played in St. John's were carried live locally. So, you know, I feel that the technology of live streaming is here, and I think the people of our Laurentian Connects know the St. Lawrence Laurentians more this year than what they have for the past 20 years.
Absolutely.
And I was talking today, I spoke briefly with Robin Short from the Telegram, and those people know of the value of technology. And I thank the NLSA for joining in and even getting like Bell to do the provincial finals and Jubilee. Like we were involved with Jubilee
in our game.
Yeah, so I think it really has enhanced the I guess the reconnect is the word that I'm hearing, that is reconnecting fans that probably would not be at the field but now are aware. But anyway, Derek, I want to belabor this. I thank you for all of this season. I wish you and the Laurentians and the Holy Cross and Mount Pearl and Feelings all the best weekend. I really feel that this year is a season that St. Lawrence. I wrote an article that the Laurentians, I gave them a slight advantage, but it was only by a coin toss. And the reason I gave you the advantage was because of your defensive system, not your. And you only allowed 12 goals this season in 23 games, so that speaks volumes. And now, for the first time, you will have. I don't think Clinton and Lawton played together. I don't think So both of them are available. I'm not saying they're going to play the weekend, but both of them are available for the first time. So that's not going to hurt your team.
No.
Anyway, Derek, all the best. You're the final word.
All right, Gord, thanks for the opportunity. Hope everybody enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed sitting down. Looking forward to the weekend. Hope you can all get out, but if you can't, I hope you tune in.
Well, folks, I thank Derek. I think you'll have a little better insight into Derek Strang, head coach of the St. Lawrence Laurentians, after the special feature on our head coach, St. Lawrence Laurentians head coach, Derek Strang.
Freudian slip.
And the people there, I'm glad to see all the people that got connections with Derek. Very proud of what he's done, and so you should be, and so should the St. Lawrence Laurentians. Sometimes controversial, but you know what? Anybody that coaches the Laurentians and has a mainstay with that club, you'll be always second guess. But you know what? It's when you hoist the championships above your head. 2016, it was Derek Strang. Will it be Derek Strang in 2017 and his Laurentian? Who knows? Tune in for the Molson Challenge Cup the weekend, where the Laurentians tomorrow evening at 4:30 will play Holy Cross Crusaders. Thank you for joining in this evening. Farewell to all.